Hi there, here is a great triple pack of maritime specials from yesteryear, when Great Britain had a shipbuilding industry that was critical to the war effort at the time. The Tyneside Story is a wonderful archive tribute to a national treasure of the industrial North wiped out by the mid-2000s. It would be great to hear from anyone who lived and worked there during the golden years. Please comment.
The new castle on the Tyne, new in 1172, has always looked out on men building ships. Here men built schooners, frigates, ships of the line, ironclads, battleships. The history of the Tyne is the history of the building of ships, in prosperity and in adversity. When war broke out, the Eldon Yard had known better times.
What have you caught, Tom? Here, come and have a look. 1066, William the Conqueror. 1066 to 1940. It hasn't been lying there all that time.
Hello, lads. What have you got here?
Don't know.
Must have been here about 10 years. You know what it is? It's the number board of the last ship that was built in this yard before it closed down. She must have been lodged from this very berth. Well, carry on, lads, and get the weeds cleared away, and maybe you'll see a keel laid here before long. 1066. Well over 1,000 ships. There must have been some rare craft among that lot.
June 1886. On this day was launched from the Eldon Yard the first true oil tanker, a ship of 2,300 gross tons. The novelty of its design is that it permits oil to be carried in the hull. February 1856. The prosperity of iron shipbuilding on the Tyne was evidenced in the launch from the Eldon Yard of 3 ships on the same day. The first vessel was a handsome steamer 200 feet long named the Paris. The second, the Eupatoria, was a large screw collier. The machinery of the third vessel, the George Robert, is a beautiful marine adaptation of Robert Stephenson's locomotive engine. Siberian train ferry steamer Baikal, built in sections in the year 1896, shipped to Russia, assembled on the shores of Lake Baikal, and launched this 29th of June, 1899.
Aye, and Eldon Yard will be turning out fine ships again before this war's very much older. You're a bit previous, Mac. The berth's all ready. If I only had the men, we'd soon get the first keel laid. But where the hell's the men to come from?
Controller, Ministry of Labour Regional Office, Great North Road, Newcastle on Tyne. Sir, I am to refer to the Admiralty scheme for bringing derelict shipyards back into production, and to inform you that the Eldon Yard is now in working order and in immediate need of every class of shipyard labour. I am to request you to take urgent steps to meet the labour requirements of this yard. The work is of high priority.
Our only chance is to call up the men who left the yards years ago. Come in.
Oh, we want to know if everything's ready for the shipyard call-up.
I think so, sir. And it gets me for one. I was a frame setter in Hawthorne's 14 years ago.
And you want to go?
Someone must go, sir. I'll bring in the file.
That's your first one, Jim.
What do you think, Maggie? Here's a letter from the Labour Exchange asking me to go back to the shipyard.
Bye, what a nerve. They didn't want you when you needed a job. I'd see them further first.
Aye, but they've offered me foreman riveter, head foreman.
But you don't want a job. We've got this nice little business that you've strived and struggled for. You'd be daft if you went back.
Now listen, lass. I worked in the yard for 30 years, and I learned a trade where a man can show his skill. Anybody can do this job.
Well, it's no good, Fred. The Ministry of Labour's overruled us. You've got to go back to the shipyard.
To hell with the shipyard. They've no right to play fast and loose with men like this. Not so long ago, they threw us out of the yards to starve or scrounge. Skilled men, mind you. Brought up to a trade. And nobody cared. Now they want us back. There's a war on.
Now, wait a minute, Fred.
Next
You
thing
can't...
you know, the war'll be over and out again you'll go, you mugs. Ah, well, not for me. I've got a good job down here, and the missus has got a nice little home together. What? Go back to the shipyard? I'll see them in hell first.
It's no good you kicking, Fred. They can make you.
You were a plater. You were a caulker. You were a burner. All you men are needed in the yards again. You were a clerk. You were a baker. You sold ice cream. You sold newspapers.
Money came the gun. There was more than 20 on the busman who were danced the sun. Danced the change when we went in here, I went to Maiden. Oh, lad, we should have seen us gardening, passing the boats along the road just as they were standing. There were lots of lads and lasses there, all with smiling faces, gathered along the Scotswood Road to see the Maiden races.
Aye, it's been a real battle to get that one away. But we'll have to have some more men in this yard.
Where will we get them?
Where were the men? The Royal Northumberland Fusiliers, Tobruk, El Alamein, Tripoli, the Mareth Line.
Now, before I start my lecturette this morning, girls, there's an announcement which concerns all of you. Tyneside shipyards are short of labour, and we must have ships. So we propose starting right away here, training women as electricians, deck land packers, and welders. As you are all eligible, I hope you will volunteer.
What do I have to do?
We'll show you, but don't think that shipbuilding is all heavy work. There are hundreds of jobs in the yards that can be done by women as well, or even better than men. This layout is condensed for instructional purposes. It shows typical distribution and lighting circuits for use on ships. After boring a pipe, the next job is to face the flange. Don't attempt to force the tool. Feed it the same amount after each turn. When wiring enters compartments below the waterline or on deck, it has to pass through glands which must be packed watertight. If that weld passes the test, the girl will be down at the yard next week.
In this yard we have our own training school, which has been running for 27 years, and we've provided half the yards in the Tyne with welders. The first thing I teach a beginner is how to strike an arc. I can tell pretty well in the first few minutes whether you'll ever make a good welder. Mind you, although they're learning, the work they're doing is used in actual ships, so it's got to be right. They all say welding's the common thing. These lads now were riveters until a fortnight ago. They asked to be taught welding. We changed with the times here. That chap learned to be a riveter under me father. Now he's here to learn welding from me. Betty Payne here's one of the best welders we've turned out, and we've turned out some good ones. Generally the girls do the easier welds, but Betty can handle anything. She's as good as any man in the yard.
Today you will find women at work in the shipyards, side by side with the men, in nearly every branch of shipbuilding. Many of them had never been near a ship a year ago. Today they're building them. For there's work to be done on the Tyne, and whatever your age or sex, there's a job where your skill is needed. Ned O'Hare and his mate still find there's plenty of use for their old skill at hand riveting. Next door to them, another team work at the hydraulic riveting machine. Old methods, new methods. There's work for both. There's work for old Ralph Balmer, who started in the yards when they were building wooden sheathed warships. There's work for these West Indian seamen while they wait to rejoin their ship. And the work is being done. Great prefabricated sections of warships are welded by the new recruits. The hammers of the old hands beat out their contribution to the job that Tyne is famed for. Once they built schooners and frigates. Now they build cargo ships and tankers, submarines, aircraft carriers. As long as Britain calls for ships, the call will be answered by the ring of steel on steel in the shipyards of the Tyne.
Ah, but wait a minute. Tyneside's busy enough today. Old uns and young uns hard at work making good ships. But just remember what the yards looked like 5 years ago. Idle. Empty. Some of them derelict. And the skilled men that worked in them scattered and forgotten. Will it be the same again 5 years from now? That's what we on Tyneside want to know.
their thousands of miles of rugged coastline, deep rivers and natural resources, are fitted by nature to be the birthplace of ships. Around Britain, ships, big and small, are built for service in the four corners of the earth. And yet of these thousands of ships which leave British shipyards, no two, not even sister ships, are alike. Each has as distinct a personality as a human being. But if you come into a typical British shipyard, when they're laying the keel of a new ship, you will look in vain for this personality in the din and clatter of the yard. Your first impression will be to wonder how dead steel can ever go to sea, and how the number of a job can ever become the name of a living ship. There is little in the confused tangle of steel that can be recognized as part of a ship at all. This giant casting, for instance, hardly looks as if it will one day become merged in the graceful stern of a ship, giving the steering and propelling gear invisible strength. You may find it hard to imagine, too, that this great steel backbone now taking shape will soon be holding back the pressure of thousands of tons of sea water. But in the minds of the men who are building her, ship number 242 has already begun to take shape. Every plate and girder that comes into the yard has its own place not only in some part of that ship, but in the minds of the men who build her. From the crane driver, who has worked here for 20 years, to David, the new boy, with his lump of chalk, waiting to make his mark in the world. David's father works with red-hot steel. His job is to hammer and twist ribs for the side of the ship. This is no haphazard work, for every rib is forged to an exact pattern marked out on the floor, and each is different. Hard work and it's hot work. And one of David's jobs is to keep his father supplied with tea. Cranes carry the finished ribs away to great machines which chew holes in half-inch steel as if it were cardboard. And if the hole is only the slightest bit out, you can throw the rib away. After weeks of patience and hard work, the ship begins to rise in the stocks. As the last ribs are fitted into position, we can see the outlines of a ship. And somewhere in this dead forest of steel girders is the spirit of a ship too. Now the ribs must be coated with steel. For this, thousands of steel plates are continuously coming into the yard. Each plate is tested by Lloyd's before it leaves the steelworks, and every one carefully examined again when it reaches the yard. To us, perhaps, one plate seems the same as another, but the men know exactly where each plate belongs, including this one. punching. In this case, it is punched by a special multiple punching machine. After it has been well and truly punched, the plate is next cut to its own particular shape on a shearing machine. Thus it will fit snugly alongside the thousands of others which form the sides of the ship. David has other things to do besides expressing himself in chalk. He is learning his trade. At first, helping to keep the yard tidy, picking up scrap as it falls from the machine. David has a great friend called Jock. Jock intends to be an electric welder like his brother. And in a year, he and David will be apprenticed to their trades. For 5 years, they will do nothing but learn. The skill and craft of shipbuilding is a tradition which carries on beyond the span of any man's life. It cannot be learnt in a book. It must be handed on from one to another, from father to son, from brother to brother. In this yard are whole families who have grown up within it. Families whose children will be building good ships when today is history. When night falls, not all the men go home. Some of the home guards stay to watch over the ships they have built. Dominating all the other sounds in the shipyard is the clatter and clanging of the riveters. Their work, above all others, makes steel go to sea. The riveters join the thousands of individual parts together and make them one. 500,000 rivets will go into this ship, and one faulty rivet, only one, may cause a ship to spring a leak. It takes 5 years to train a man to hit a rivet soundly with a hammer. The boys, who one day will be riveters, learn their jobs within sight of their fathers and brothers. A new generation of shipbuilders is always in training. As the steel sides are hammered together, fresh armies of workers seal up her steel plates so that not even a drop of water may creep in between. Painters, too, climb all over her sides, and soon each steel plate merges into the next under a uniform of glistening paint. At the same time, runways are greased with tallow, so that at the launching, number 242 will slip easily into the water. Suddenly, behind the tangle of the shipyard, there is a ship. And now a new army takes possession. Carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and a dozen others. And each man gives something of himself to the character of the ship. Months of patient work are coming to an end. The men of the shipyard have worked their miracle in steel. Steel is ready to go to sea. Job number 242 will float on her first tide in a few hours. Little remains to be done. One by one, the props which have supported the ship on land have been knocked away. Stout ropes are prepared to replace these props and hold the ship in position. As the props go, the whole weight of this great ship will depend only on this bundle of ropes. And now, it is nearly full tide. As the time draws near, the men in the yard, and their wives and children and people from miles around, gather to see how number 242 takes the water. For a little while, the noises of the yard are stilled. Another ship has been brought to life in British shipyards. She is an individual with a character of her own. But she is also one of the great and ever-growing family, the family of British-built ships. Like the rest of her kindred, she will serve her owners well and do her job wherever she sails. And after her, in a ceaseless flow, come ships and yet more ships for the British Merchant Navy. Back in the yards, another keel is being laid.
a small country. At present, the East Coast is threatened because the major part of Western Europe is in enemy occupation. But Great Britain is not the British Empire. Taken together, the countries of the Empire form the largest community in the world. The highways between these countries traverse the oceans and must be kept open in order that food and munitions of war have free access to Britain, and exports from the mother country can be sent overseas. Owing to the dominance of the British Navy, these highways can be altered to suit ourselves. But though the routes can be altered, there must be permanent ports at the end where ships can load and unload. In the West are many ports open to the seas of the world to which ships can bring our food and from which they can take our exports. What are these Western ports?
Bristol? Is that the General Manager of Bristol Docks? Ministry of Shipping speaking. The Admiralty inform us that mines are reported in the Thames estuary. Convoy 787 is being diverted to West Coast ports. And please arrange to discharge one oil tanker, 10,000 tons, 2 cargoes of grain, 15,000.
Bristol is one of the oldest ports in Britain. It was used by the Romans. It was from here that Cabot sailed to discover the mainland of America. At the mouth of the river, the Bristol authorities have established a large up-to-date port, Avonmouth, where food ships from the diverted convoy are unloading sugar from the West Indies and wheat from the Dominion of Canada. Mobile grain elevators are moved up to the offside of the ship. They suck the grain up from the hold, transferring it by means of conveyors to great grain silos where it is stored. Cardiff, on the opposite side of the Bristol Channel, ships of different nationalities are loading at the celebrated coal wharf. The world's most modern machinery here handles trucks of coal with a minimum of labour. The export of Britain's most valuable raw material is providing large sums of money in foreign countries, money that can be used for the purchase of food and munitions. At another wharf, ships of Convoy 787 are discharging iron ore for the making of tanks, guns, shells, and innumerable other items for our war effort.
Some people take it as a tonic.
Take what as a tonic?
This iron.
Don't you believe it? All the people I know takes a tonic to get rid of the iron.
Won't be much use to some people as a tonic.
Meaning uns?
Meaning uns.
I certainly hope not.
From the wharves, the ore is dispatched to be smelted both locally and to the Midlands, where in addition to munitions of war, machinery is also made for export. Heavy goods are loaded onto ships at Manchester, the Atlantic port for exports from the Midlands. This inland town has made itself a seaport by building a ship canal 35 miles long. By means of this, ocean-going vessels can load and unload their cargoes in the heart of the city. Here, ships of the convoy unload cotton from America. Besides cotton, this vessel has brought in several thousand cases of tinned goods.
Took along to the Wren. There's some more stuff to come out. What? More meat? About 2,000 tons.
10 million pound steaks. I'm fair sick and tired of handling this stuff. It puts me right off my grub, it does. All right, I'm coming.
Vessels having loaded at Manchester pass down the canal, which, serving a heavily industrialised district, has had to surmount many difficulties. At Barton, the Bridgewater Canal brings down coal from further inland to be carried over the ship canal by means of a swing bridge. In order not to interfere with traffic, a novel form of transporter was built at Runcorn to carry vehicles over the ship canal. At the far end of the canal lie the Mersey and Liverpool, the gateway of northern England to the west. Into this great port come the largest vessels in the world, bringing cattle from Ireland, wool for the mills of Yorkshire, coffee, cocoa, sugar, and raw materials of every description. The work of unloading is often done by dockers brought from different parts of the country to where the needs are greatest. Here is Tom Burrows from London. Well, Tom, how do you like working away from your hometown?
Oh, might be worse. You know, I've been used to London all my life, and I don't think much about any other place. And then, of course, there's the river. You can't find a river like the Thames nowhere. And then, of course, I mean to say, this place is all right, but, the Thames is in a class on its own.
Do you find it comfortable living down here?
Oh, yes, the people here are fine, especially to us evacuees, and their ITs are special. I'm going to get Mrs. to... Got to get onto that when I get back, I'll tell you.
Oh, I see. You haven't got your wife with you, then?
No, it's no good bringing her up here, you know, because I might get called away anywhere, anytime. But I don't mind that, you know. Not as long as I'm able to dot old Hitler one in the eye.
Thank you, Tom. As the warehouses in the South and Midlands are full, they have sent the SS Alpera, just arrived from New Zealand with a cargo of dairy produce, to Glasgow to unload. This vessel has brought over 8 million pounds of butter, 4 million pounds of cheese, and large quantities of mutton. To the great ports of the West comes a steady flow of the goods we need to help us win the war. Meat from Australia, oil from Port of Spain, wheat from Manitoba, cocoa from Accra, butter from New Zealand, hides from Argentine, oranges and lemons from the Cape and East Transvaal, ore from Sierra Leone, flour from USA, timber from Newfoundland, wool from Botany Bay, cotton from Nigeria, coffee from Brazil, meat products and provisions from the States and Argentine. All these goods denied to the enemy are brought here, thanks to the bravery of our seamen and the power of the British Navy.